We open the floor to the Economic Council of the Embassy of France, also Jean Gwenole.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. I will try to bring you some illustration of what the Consul General just said regarding French presence in Nigeria. But don't worry, I will avoid to get you bored with too many figures. The first thing we have to emphasize is the fact that Nigeria today is the second investment destination for French companies in Africa, just behind Morocco. And this means that there was a very, very important progress in the past few years. We have today, in 2018, we had an amount of 9.4 billion euro invested in Nigeria. Worldwide, Nigeria is now the 23rd destination for French investment. And it's very interesting to mention that Nigeria is just behind Hong Kong and ahead of countries like Singapore or Canada, which deserved to be mentioned. We have today in Nigeria more than 130 French companies locally based, which is twice more than what it was 10 years ago. Many of them are working on strategic projects, contributing to Nigeria infrastructure development and economic growth. And when I say economic growth, it's more and more sustainable economic growth. To mention just a few, we are present in a new type of public transport, especially urban transport, with companies such as Alstom or Jean-Claude Decaux. We have also an important presence in ports management through Bolloré, which is very, very famous, or CMA CGM, which is working now on the big Lekki ports extension. Of course, but everybody knows about Total in oil production and refined products distribution, as well as renewable energy projects. As far as renewable energy projects, we can mention also companies like Schneider Electric or Gwenole, which are more and more dedicated to solar energy projects, especially in more isolated areas or in country areas. In food products, we must mention Danone, with this very original way of distribution through fan milk. And but that's another very famous company in Africa, CFAO, in the distribution of non-food consumer goods. It's also important to mention that more and more of the French companies are investing in industrial projects, which is a testimony of the confidence they have in the country. It helps Nigeria to reach its strategy of being less dependent on imports, and it's a way also to create employment for Nigerian youth. Among the more the more important industrial project, we have to name BIC, which is producing in Ikeja writing instruments. We can also mention a new project of a small and medium-sized company called SDMO, who recently launched a new assembly unit of generators in Ikeja as well. The project of a car SKD unit line by Renault, which was announced last summer, and the production in Kano of nutritional food to prevent children malnutrition through a French company called Nutriset, which signed a joint venture with Dansa Food. It is also important to add that French companies, as I said before, have more and more a strong involvement in sustainable development and social responsibilities. As far as social responsibilities is concerned, we can mention the fight against illiteracy, especially in the north of the country, and in general the education projects which are managed by a French company, the improvement of road traffic security. When I talk about it, I'm thinking about Total, which has a very important training program for its drivers. We have also in the north of the country some initiatives to increase agricultural productivity, and of course, as the Consul General mentioned, sustainable cities. As you know, in Africa and especially in Nigeria, the migration to big cities is more and more important. Lagos, for instance, will probably be the first or the second most populated city in the world in 2050. So there is an urgent need to make the extension of the city more sustainable. That's why the French Embassy organized on the 21st of October a conference about this topic to show what is French expertise, especially in new form of energies, new forms of transport, as well as what Nigerian companies also are doing. It's in the same way we are very keen to see, as the Consul General said, Nigerian stakeholders to participate to the summit Africa-France in Bordeaux in June next year, which will be also dedicated to a sustainable city. Another encouraging sign of what the French economic presence is the fact that more and more French startups are choosing Nigeria to create branches or even to open a greenfield company. We can mention, for example, such initiatives in quick transport delivery, in mobile financing or microfinance, with always the same target: make Nigerian citizen life easier. So all these examples show that France strategy and French companies' strategy is a long-run one and a testimony of the confidence companies have in Nigeria's future. On the other way, I think we can also talk about France's attractivity to Nigerians' big industrial groups. You have in Nigeria, and you are one of the only African countries with groups the size of which can make them keen to expand in Europe. And when we talk about expanding to Europe, France is an excellent choice to invest. First, because France has a central position in Europe. France has an excellent infrastructure network, a very high education level, a unique startup ecosystem. One example of that is Station F, which is the largest startup facilities in Paris and in the world. Very few people know that, but we have in Paris the largest startup facility in the world. And of course, but everybody knows about it, the quality of life for expatriates. To present all this more in details, Business France will maybe talk about it more in details in a few minutes. We'll organize on the 26th of November for the 5th time in Lagos its Investor Month morning seminar targeting business groups, but also startups who are more and more interested in expanding to France. And last but not least, on the beginning of December, a MEDEF delegation, MEDEF is the most representative organization of the French private sector, will organize for the 4th time in 5 years a delegation of top executives of prominent French companies will have exchanges, of course, at the political level, but also with their counterparts here, companies association, and of course private companies to try to develop more exports and more development, more investment in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you.